YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for April 20th through 26th. This week I read 2 books, I watched 2 shows, I watched 3 movies, and I listened to 1 book. We're currently on a little bit of a weekend getaway to Campbell River, which is more north on the island than we usually go, although we did technically actually used to live here for like 10 months. The weather has been absolutely beautiful. I got my version of my summer tan. This is the color I turn in the summer. And I can show you proof of that based on this. And I got that while walking to the local independent bookstore for Canada's Indie Bookstore Day and buying some books and reading some books outside, and it was lovely. The first book that I finished this week is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. I've read everything he's published, and I've enjoyed everything he's published, even though not everything is in the same genre. John Green is likely a name you know for his various young adult novels, but he's also branched out into writing nonfiction. And if you've been following him online any time in the past 5 years, you know that this is his passion project. This book not only tells the story about how John got into researching tuberculosis, but also about different people he knows who had it and people from history who had it and different inventions that were made because of it. Because yes, it is the world's most deadly infectious disease that we have a cure for, and yet millions of people die from it every year. There are a lot of really interesting intersections and crossovers in this book, talking about the ways that tuberculosis has been viewed throughout the years, as well as how things like poverty and race and access to medical care played into that. This is incredibly well done and I highly recommend it. Speaking of nonfiction books, I definitely recommend the next book I read this week is Genocide Bad. This one is part activist memoir, part essays about genocide and why it's bad, and yes, by bad we mean bad for everyone. This one particularly talks about Palestine, Jewish history, and collective liberation. I've actually been following this author online for years. I read their debut novella quite some time ago, I want to say about 5 years ago. And because I was already following them online, I saw them when they started talking on this issue following the attacks on October 7th. If you're anything like me, and there's definitely a chance that you are, you know that things are going on in the world that are not great. However, you don't really know how to talk about them because you feel like you need to basically have a PhD level of the understanding of the history of an area before you're allowed to have an opinion. Or you kind of play the, well, there's probably both sides you need to look at. But when it really comes down to it, Genocide Bad. I took a lot of things away from this book, but one thing I really want to boil down to is how every accusation is a confession, and this comes up several times throughout this book. Where the Israeli side will be talking about, oh, they kill babies, aren't they terrible? But in fact, the track record for killing babies goes to the Israeli forces. It also seems to be this weird thing where the people that are on the side of the oppressors will always hear statements like genocide bad, as in if we stop genociding them, then they'll genocide us, and we don't want that to happen, so we have to keep it going. In actuality, we just want genocide to not happen at all. Weird concept, I know. Sim says it much more succinctly and eloquently than I do, so just go read this book and watch all of their TikToks and or reels on this topic. Switching gears completely to what I watched this week, the first show is Vera. I was in the 11th season the last time I talked to you. I'm now in the 13th season, which means there was a big cast change as well, because since the 5th season, her second in command has been Aiden, and then his character actually just moved in between seasons, so when we get into the 13th season, he's not there anymore. And because I have the habit of watching the names of people at the beginning of TV shows, I was pretty sure I knew who was going to be replacing him, and I was correct, and that was very fun to see. I am, however, a little bit scared because I know that the 14th season is the final season, which means I probably have only about 4 episodes left, depending on how many episodes are in the next season, because I have 1 remaining in this season, and if it's anything like this season, the next season only has 3 episodes, and then I'm done. BritBox also has a couple of behind-the-scenes things that I might watch just because I want to know more about this character and the woman playing her and the whole cast and crew, because there's so many ridiculous hijinks that go on with the different characters, just kind of as side things that happen in the show, and I just really adore it, and then I'm going to have to find something else to watch. The other show I watched this week was the first of 2 episodes of season 13.5 of Jetlag the Game, where they're doing a mini-season using the cards you can actually buy to play this game yourselves with your friends in New York. So they're doing a hide-and-seek round in New York. Although this is definitely mostly an advertisement for the game, which I already knew existed, it's also really fun because you're just seeing people do fun things in a place that most of them are really familiar with. I look forward to watching the concluding episode this coming week. As for the movies we watched this week, we decided to throw it back to a movie that I definitely should have watched at the time because I am the same age as those characters, or at least if those characters were alive today and were real people, they would be my age now. And that's Eurotrip. This starts with a guy named Scotty, and he is graduating class of 2004, which is the year I graduated high school, and he gets dumped by his girlfriend and realizes that there's this girl he's been talking to online, but he thought this person was a guy the whole time because his German's not that great, and he decides that he's going to just go to Europe and find her because he's decided he's in love with her. Hilarious hijinks ensue, obviously. Some fun things about this movie: you might think that these characters are actually going to these very different places all around Europe, but yeah, most of it was filmed in Prague. And there is a scene that's set in, I believe it's Bratislava, and the people of that country were really not happy with the representation of their country in this movie. Also, I finally got to learn where that Scotty Doesn't Know song came from because I've definitely heard it before, but yeah, I had never actually watched it, and then it was in my head for about 3 days straight. The next movie we watched, apropos of absolutely nothing, was Lethal Weapon 4. I haven't watched any of this franchise in at least 20 years, probably more than that. But our friend Justin seems to have an encyclopedic knowledge of things like which of these movies is both the funniest and has the most action, and it seems to be Lethal Weapon 4. It's also the first time Jet Li was in a movie in America, apparently, which is pretty cool. There's also a hilarious side plot that has to do with Chris Rock, so why wouldn't we think this is funny? It was pretty funny. Obviously, there's some things that don't stand up because it's not going to stand up because it's a movie from 1998. And I did spend a lot of time going, you were just promoted to doing desk work. Why are you guys out in the field? Why are you blowing things up? And by blowing things up, I mean whoever was doing the pyrotechnics on this movie really liked to have things blow directly into the air. The other movie I watched, we actually watched while we were here in the hotel, so it had commercial breaks. And we actually started it a few minutes into it because we just happened to turn on the TV, and that was Edge of Tomorrow. I didn't know what this was going into it, but Chad's like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. It's basically an alien invasion. That's all you need to know. That's all you've really missed from the beginning. And it starts, and then like this major character dies. I'm like, oh, I guess that was just a cameo. And then the main character dies. We see him wake up, and I'm like, oh, this is a time loop movie, isn't it? And yes, it is. It's basically this guy. He's not even supposed to be there that day, but he somehow conscripted into this army force that is going to go in these kind of mech suits and go fight some alien forces. And then one of the aliens ends up kind of bleeding on him, so he has this thing where he just keeps repeating the day. So he keeps getting better and better and better at it, or just keeps kind of figuring out what he needs to do at exactly what time. And then he realizes there's another person that's been through this before, and they try to figure out how to ultimately fix this situation. And then I kind of fell asleep near the end and didn't really understand how they got themselves out of this situation, but it's a movie, so of course they did. Most likely in a because time sort of way. As for the audiobook I listened to, that was The River Has Roots. This one is a very short book, and the audiobook is such a treat because not only does it have sound effects, but this book has a lot to do with singing, and there's singing throughout it as well. This book is about two sisters who live in this very small village near the edge of this water, and then also this forest that's kind of a transition point into Arcadia is what they call it. It's basically the Fey land. In this world, magic is called grammar, and the way you say things can actually cause curses or spells to occur. These sisters sing to the trees and the water every single day together, and they are incredibly close to each other. However, one of them is potentially being courted by somebody from Arcadia. The same sister, however, has a human suitor that she really does not like. This one is just so clever because it uses words that have multiple meanings. It has riddles and just the love of solving riddles through song and thinking of the plurality of everything and thinking of it as what it is now, what it has been, and what it will be in the future. And it was just honestly a delight. You can tell this author really loves language, and this shines so well in this book. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye! Thanks for kicking on in the middle of that fridge.